Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom lakam, with just peace unto you all. Hayawam tawab la atam za'akekam yawam man rachakadar, Charlotte, which is good day. This is your brother Yawan from the GMS camp in Charlotte. Nacham atam kayaham lakot hashamayim kwara, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Call layam la abna Yahweh bahasham Yahushua bahasham Qadash. Wa mashana la zakonim na wa malakim shor Hakadar, which is all praises to our Father Yahweh, which means He exists. Bahasham, in the name Yahweh Shai, delivers in double honor to those and the apostles of Great Millstone. All right, just going into prefixes. Baha Lashawan Qadash, which is prefixes in the language Hashapah Shah Lashawan Qadash, the language of Lashawan Qadash, which is the holy tongue. When you say it in English. All right. So starting with these are the prefixes, and it says and it says alap, which that's the word that corresponds with the letter and it says first I or I will is because this is the source of the first letter. So like, this is the source or the first letter. I is the first person. I is ideal for use for I because it refers to the first person. So when you say, okay, I'm doing this, you would say because that refers to, the person that's speaking, or you're referring to yourself. If you were to speak to someone else about yourself, you would say I. All right, and the reason that it's being used for the first person because I is the first letter. All right, so I'm going to get a precept real fast. This is Shamwath Exodus, chapter 3. We'll get verse 14. Verse 13, it says, And Masha said unto the Most High, Behold, when I come unto the children of Yasha'Allah, and shall say unto them, The power of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And the Most High said unto Masha, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Yasha'Allah, I am, hath sent me unto you. You see, so when you read this in context, all right, the Lord was referring to himself, which he said, Ahaya, which he was talking about himself. But when you refer to the Lord, his name is Yahweh, for he exists. Because when he said, I am that I am, this verb is Haya. All right, he pretty much was saying that he was saying as himself, I exist, he exists. So when we refer to the Lord, it's Yahweh because he exists. All right, which the verb that he used was Haya. And when we refer to him, it would be Hawa, Yahweh, he exists, because we're referring to we're referring to him, when we speak. When you read this in context right here, it says, And the Most High said unto Masha, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Yasha'Allah, so unto the children of Yasha'Allah, I am hath sent me unto you. So it's two people having a dialogue, all right, and it's referring to a third party. That third party would be the children of Yasha'Allah, so when Moses went back to when Masha went back to the children of Yasha'Allah, all right, he was breaking it down in context of talking about someone else. So that would be in turn the third person, all right, which is Yahweh. He was talking to that third party, to the children of Israel. All right. Pretty much the point is when someone is referring to themselves, they would say All right. And that's why in context it says I am that I am. All right. So I'm going to get another one. The second one was Ba. And it says Ba, which in Hebrew, Salak, it's not right there. It will be Bayat, which is a house. All right. And the logic is that things can be relative or used in comparison to something else. For example, in, near, by, at, and at times you'll see with as well. And it says all in Hebrew would be within or inside, because when you take it, the scriptures say, I'm going to get this real fast. This is Bon Sirach, chapter 1. We'll get verse 1. Let's get right to the point. And it says, Wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words, which we have labored to interpret, for the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. So the point being that pretty much when you speak something in another language, it means something else, so through transliteration and translation, you know, the power and the force of words is lost through translation. So that's why you got to go back to the actual language. All right. And reason why I wanted to go to this precept is because when you say inside something in English, it means something totally different, or it has a wide variety in Hebrew, because when you say in or ba in Hebrew, it means inside. But when you actually go into something that's within, all right, it can be something that's near, by, or at. In the language of Hebrew, these are by definition, it will be in. So I'm gonna get an example of that real fast. All right, so just for example, the word bayat, and it says a place, a receptacle. All right, so that includes your house, your descendants. It says inwards, metaphorically. It says on the inside. It says those belonging to the same household. All right, then it says in greatest variation of applications. All right, so then when I go into here, it says a movable house, because we were a people of we took righteous pride in our house, so those in your house, the things that's inside your house, all right, and also the things that's nearby your house, So it says the house of the Most High. It says dwelling, abode, habitation, place of any kind. It says inner part, what is on the inside, within, so if you're within a certain if you're within a certain area, that's also that's also inside, so like if you say in English, all right, within a certain area, you're still within this certain particular area, so for example, if you had like when Jake say, okay, well, that's your cousin down the line, that's still a relative, that's still inside your house, it's just in relation to, it's a little bit further down the line, so that will be in English, that will be by, or something that's near, because that's still a near relative. It's still on the inner part of that particular family, It says used figuratively for persons living together in a house. It says family, descendants, offspring. So pretty much what I'm saying is, like, in translation, the prefix ba in English, that's the best translation in certain contexts or certain contexts. All right, so sometimes like in English it'll say with or by or at, sometimes it'll be in the scriptures to where it's used as by, because that's the most ideal prefix to use for that particular setting, So continuing on, let's go back to this. It says the logic is that things can be relative or used in comparison to something else. For example, in, near, by, at, all in Hebrew would be within or inside, because it covers these areas. That is how it was originally understood. All right. And it says Hana or Slop. I want to get a precept for that. This is Bamadabar, Numbers chapter 1. We'll get verse 20, and it says, and the children of Ra'aban, Yasha'ala, Israel's eldest son, by their generations after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, by their polls, every man 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. All right. And it says by the house of their fathers, all right, because the house of the fathers, that essentially shows, the pedigree. All right, NLT, and it says, or NIV, it says, from the descendants of Reuben, the firstborn son of Israel, all the men 20 years old or more who were able to serve in the army were listed by name, one by one, according to the records of their clans and their families. All right, and this is by the house of Baal Ra'aban. All right, the house of Reuben. It pretty much went by the house. Something that was relative. Those inside your house. They essentially, they would take on the name of their father. And that's essentially going back to the point of things are relative. We pretty much in in the ancient mindset, our house was a big thing, because if you say with a woman, she's a possession, right? So she goes from the house of her father to the house of her husband, and essentially she takes on his name, you know. I'm gonna get that too. This is Yashaya, Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 1. It says, "And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach." You see, and essentially that's by becoming a wife, and to be called by thy name, essentially to be up under your house, because again, in our culture, essentially we take our house, we take pride in our house, a righteous pride in our house. I'm gonna get this too. It's a lot. Let me see. Go here. Give me a second. All right, this is Salak. This is Sirach 36 and 24. It says, "He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, a pillar of rest." And when you actually go into Bayat, it's the number 2. So it says a help like unto himself, because your wife is supposed to be a double. All right, she's under your house. It says, "He that getteth the wife beginneth the possession." So something that's going to be in his house. So again, going back to the point of, in the ancient mindset, the house is a big thing. It was a big thing, and that's why essentially, those that's in your household, they're essentially representing you, and that's why pretty much going into those that's inside your house, where they're essentially a reflection of yourself, and they will be a number 2 of yourself, you see. But then also those that's inside your house, are they will be in, near, by, or with you. That's why essentially, in translation, that's why ba essentially would be the best prefix to use, all right, in context. So going back, all right, so we did ba. All right, we got ha. It says hana. "Behold, this letter means to exist or shall be as a statement of faith. It is equal to saying exist as or be. Example, the tree is, exist as tree, or be tree in Hebrew." All right, and this is ideal because when we go to get this word for behold, and it says Genesis 1 and 29, it says, "And behold, the Most High said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, and the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat." All right, so behold, when you go into behold, that word will be the 5th letter, Lashawan, Qadash, Allah Bayath, all right, in the holy tongue, in the alphabet. All right, will be behold, Hana, and it says behold, and it says Hana, as to its etymology, or rather analogy, used for pointing out persons, things, and places, as well as actions. So when you say behold, it's like, okay, it has to exist. All right, you're pointing at it. All right, behold, look attentively, like look at it, So pretty much that's what ha means, because going back to this right here, it says hana. This letter means to exist or shall be as a statement of faith. It is equal to saying exist as or be. All right, example, the tree. All right, so if you had like a phone in your hand, you take the phone, it has to be the phone, because the phone in English, it pretty much just means it's there, it exists. So when you say the phone, or when you say, the air, the air exists, is there, so in order for you to say all right, it has to exist. So that's pretty much what ha is. When you say ha in Hebrew, you're essentially just saying, or when it's translated into English, you're just saying the, So ha means to, it pretty much has to exist, it's in order for you to say behold. All right. So So when we go into wa or wawa, it says tent peg, or it also represents a hook. It says used to join things, so it is used for and. When you say and in English, you're just saying you're joining two things together. All right. So I'm gonna get this real fast. This is Shamwath, Exodus chapter 26. We'll get verse 32, and it says, "And thou shalt hang it upon." I'm gonna start from verse 31. It says, "And thou shalt make a veil of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen of cunning work, with cherubims shall it be made, and thou shalt hang it upon 4 pillars of shittim wood, overlaid with gold. Their hooks shall be of gold upon the 4 sockets of silver." Let me get this in the NLT, and it says, "Hang this curtain on gold hooks attached to 4 posts of acacia wood. Overlay the posts with gold and set them in 4 silver bases." So hooks attach. So when you say "wow," you're essentially attaching something, all right, or you're adding something, all right. So then we have Yah, and it says Yad. All right, that's how you would say it for like the hand, and Yad is the word for Yah, the letter, and it says creates. Ancient Hebrews defined males as the creators and builders. This is why it represents he. So when we say Yahweh, all right, he exists. All right, Yahweh Shai, all right, he delivers. The Yah represents he. So I'm gonna get a precept real fast. This is Bara Ashiaf, Genesis chapter chapter 1, and we'll get verse 6, and it says, "And the power said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." All right, so when we go to this, pretty much our language is a picturistic language. All right, when we say things and when we read them out in the language, it creates a picture in the mind, because essentially it gives us a vision. All right, so what I mean by that is, it said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the go back to it. Genesis 1 and 6, it says, and the power said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." All right, so when we take this, this is essentially how it's set up in the heavens. It's set up, and it says Ma Yam. All right, and that's how it's set up in the heavens. So going back, it says, "And power said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters," and that word for firmament is rakwayai, right here, rakwayai. So when we take it and put it into a picture, it will be ra, kwa, and then you'll put the I, rakwayai, you see, but it's I don't think it's gonna let me do it, but it's rakwayai and mayam. If you put the ma and the ma over the ya, that's essentially where the two meet, so it's like the ya it acts as a hand, so it said, I'm gonna go back, it says Genesis 1 and 6, "And the power said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide." All right, so when we go into this word for divide, it says badal, and it says to separate, to divide into parts. All right, we're going to the word yad or yah, because that's essentially how it's set up. All right, I'm gonna get that example as well, because when you divide something, you're essentially parting it. All right, and it says hand yad, and it says part. It says part, a share. In order to share something, you have to part it with your hands. All right, and it says part. It says a piece of or a segment or something such as an object, activity, or period of time. So your hands part things, and that's why Yah is essentially using those specific words. And if you put it in reference to the prefix, the powers essentially had to spiritually part that particular area with the firmament. The firmament essentially divides the waters from the waters, because you got the waters above the firmament and you got the waters beneath the firmament. All right. And males are the workers, they're the creators. All right. And that's why Yah is used as for he. All right. So continuing on, we got two more, and it says La. It says La Mad. It says staff. The shepherd directs with his staff by pointing towards a certain direction. Because like if sheep, in order to keep up with the sheep, the shepherd got to tell them where to go, what to do, and things like that. So this is Tahoyim Psalms chapter 23, and we'll get verse 4. It says, yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Hey, so the scriptures, this truth essentially points us to a direction. It points us toward a certain direction to keep us safe. The rod and the staff that essentially represents, this truth. That word staff, all right, goes into the character or the letter awath, ha'awath, the letter la, all right, because it points toward a direction. The Lord Yahweh Shai is leading the elect, all right, to a certain direction. All right, and he's doing that with his staff. He represents the staff, all right, which essentially it represents this truth. So going back, we'll get Ma, and it says Ma Mayam waters. It says this letter shows a picture of what from means, in that Mayam in creation is divided by the Yah, all right, because we got it for Yah, and it says from is defined by a division or a part of something else. All right, so let's go into that. So we go back to Genesis, Barashis chapter 1 and verse 6, and it says, we get the word for from. And it says, indicating the point in space at which a journey, motion, or action starts. It says, indicating the point in time at which a particular process, event, or activity starts. So pretty much it indicates. So if you say, oh, from here is where it started, it essentially points out something. All right. Let me see if it got some more. It says, use as a function word to indicate physical separation or an act or condition of removal, absent, however you say that word, exclusion, release, subtraction, or differentiation. All right, protection from the sun, relief from anxiety. So it shows a division. All right, it says exclusion, a removal. It says let me see if I can try this word again. Abstention, yeah, something like that. Absentation, but pretty much it goes into a division. All right, shows something that's divided. All right, because if we go back to Barashah, the Genesis chapter 1 and verse 6, and the Most High said, or in the power said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. All right, and this is pretty much Ma is used as of or from, you see, because it shows in the picture Mayam, all right, is divided by the Yah. The two waters are divided by the Yah, all right, which when we put it in terms of their creation, that Yah will essentially represent Rakwayai, all right, of the firmament, all right, and it's essentially built up in the word for water, or the waters, which is Mayam, all right, and that's why Ma represents of or from, you see, because it shows a division, all right, which we got right here. We got the words Mayam and Rakwayai, which they will meet where the Yah is, you see, and that Yah essentially shows where it's divided at. All right, and that's pretty much the some of the prefixes. Lashawan, Qadash, Adawan Ratazaza Banaya Palo, so there's a beautiful edification through the spirit. Wa Adawan Ratazah Atham Yashawam Tawab, a Lord's will. You all have a good day. Wa Shalom Lakam, which is peace unto you all. Wa Yalakta Hayagadar, which is go be great. A Shalom, Shalom.